Hi, my name is Mabel. I'm a freshman in college.
Hi, my name is Ariel, and I'm also a freshman in college. And today we're going to be talking about standard justice, which basically focuses on how the right and wrongs of each person is what it is and what the offender deserves. So Mabel, can you explain what restorative justice is?
Restorative justice, in contrast to what we usually know as standard justice, is that it focuses more on each person individually and how they can both improve. Particularly the offender can improve by having help in developing better morals so that they don't commit the same crimes again. And the victim can be helped through the trauma, through things such as faith groups and other good positive role models to look up to. And restorative justice, it's connected to building relationships that envision a fullness of life for all.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jamie.
And I'm Alexa, and we're from St. Kateri Church in Los Angeles. And we'll be talking about Lesson 2, Encounter, part of the Restorative Justice Project.
Okay, so encounter is all parties involved in a conflict and will make space for personal engagement to communicate their emotions and be able to understand each other's point of view.
And the two ways that the parties can deal with this is directly and indirectly. So directly would be the victim and the offender would have meetings, but there's also the way to deal with it, which is indirectly, where there could be separate meetings, just meetings amongst the victim and the parties involved there, and meetings involving the offenders and those on that side, as well as letters and videos so that they don't have to actually confront each other depending on the seriousness of the situation. Encounter also involves helping the victim in the way that they can start their healing process and tell their story from their point of view and know that they're heard and vent out their feelings. And it helps the offender because it gives them the opportunity to recognize what they've done and come to the realization that they need to improve themselves.
Yeah, and God cares for both parties involved in the conflict, and He wants people to recognize the harm that they've caused and to seek reconciliation. And according to the Bible, the book of Galatians says, "Brothers, if someone is caught in a sin, you who are spiritual should restore him gently."
Hello, my name is Luke and I'm a parishioner at St. Kateri.
Hi, my name is Cam and also parishioner at St. Kateri, and we're going to be talking about Lesson 3 of Restorative Justice, which is inclusion.
Participation of all parties in the justice system. The affected people are able to see the justice system. They are able to share their perspectives, feelings, and needs. They can influence the outcome and the perpetrator's sentencing and trial.
So not everyone may see the value in inclusion, but according to Deuteronomy, one witness is not enough to convict a man accused of any crime or offense he may have committed. So in order for the progression of the growth of a relationship to develop again, it's important to include every witness, any key person that was involved with the offender or victim in the situation. So for example, in a court case, it'd be really beneficial if they were all present in the courtroom when they have been a key witness. And it's also important that they also express what they dealt with, and it just eliminates bias and it doesn't leave anyone isolated, hence inclusion, so that everyone can get a fairly specific viewpoint of what happened, and it helps further progress the growth of a relationship.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashlyn.
And I'm Chris. We're from St. Kateri Catholic Church, Northern LA.
So our lesson was lesson number 4, and it was on amends.
And just like it says in book 5, chapter 23 and 24, therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift in the front of the altar. First go and be reconciled with your brother, then come and offer your gift. And to kind of summarize, basically, if you have any form of conflict with somebody, you have to go the extra mile to make sure that you both are able to properly express acknowledge what you have done, and then try to make better of it.
One way to make an amend is by making an apology. A sincere apology would include an acknowledgement for their actions along with a sense of regret or shame.
And then you can also go with a full change of behavior, in which oftentimes the offender can go to rehabilitation programs or similar things like that, but an overall opportunity to make the best version of himself is the key in this process.
So another way is by paying restitution. Restitution is offering services or monetary payment or replacement of material goods.
And then there's also generosity, in which you go above and beyond the call of duty to make sure that the victim and your community receive its proper retribution for what you have committed against them.
It's Kiara, and I'm with St. Kateri Catholic Church. I'm 18 years old, and I just graduated high school.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I am also from St. Kateri Catholic Church in Santa Clarita, and I'm going to be a senior in high school.
We're discussing reintegration, and so oftentimes after a crime is committed, both the victim and the offender feel isolated from society. The victim feels as though no one understands them and can't possibly know what it is that they're going through, and so they often withdraw from society, whereas the offender is often pushed away from society and many people don't want to have anything to do with them.
And that's why reintegration is so important. We need reintegration to bring back both the offenders and the victims back into society so they can function as a complete, whole, and functional society. So it's really important that we build our relationships between both of these parties and just reintegrate them into the community.
In scripture, we see this idea of reintegration exemplified when Jesus befriends sinners and tax collectors, who are both people that are often looked down upon and pushed away from society, but when they are brought in by Jesus, they are able to become saints. Also, we see in 2 Corinthians, it says, "If anyone has caused grief, he has not so much grieved me as he has grieved all of you, to some extent. The punishment inflicted on him by the majority is sufficient for him. Now instead, you ought to forgive and comfort him." So the idea is that justice is not only about punishment, but about reintegrating them into society so that we can better function as a group and as a community, and so that they can be more involved in the community and invested and want the best for that community.
So the basis of reintegration, what we think, is openness. So you got to be open to accept others even though they may have had bad past, and openness to forgive even though they did something horrible to you, because that's what brings them back into society, is to be open. And in being open, we can form stronger relationships and maybe even friendships. And another thing from openness is having the support from the community. So with the support and maybe some support groups, that's what reintegration is. We can have support groups from past offenders or victims, which can help them to bring them back into society. So reintegration is a very key point in the restorative justice process, and it really helps them to fix and repair the damage that the crime has done to the community and society. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Matthew Schultz.
And I'm Hannah, and we're both from St. Kateri Tekakwitha Catholic Church in Santa Clarita, California.
We'll be sharing with you the 6th lesson of restorative justice, that is application. And so basically, restorative justice and the application of restorative justice really revolves around bonding, healing the bonds that have broken during a conflict, and also making sure a problem does not reoccur.
Yes, so whether someone is the offender or the victim, restorative justice helps both parties communicate together, create those amends, create those a stronger bond together to build a relationship and to create situations and solutions so the crime and the situation doesn't reoccur.
The bonds also are not just mended with each other, but also with God and the church. So basically, in real life, the application of restorative justice starts with the two parties meeting and talking about their feelings and their sides of the story.
So, for example, with the Junior Pen Pal program, in Restorative Justice Project. We can write letters to the offenders and to the victims and give them some encouragement and hope with quotes from the Bible to lift their spirits and remind them that Jesus does have a hope for them and a future for them.
Restorative justice can also be used at home with friends or family. If you are in an argument, you can use restorative justice to mend the bonds that are broken. And also, we can go home and start a school club where we teach teens the principles of restorative justice.
We have all these different aspects to restorative justice. How do we actually apply them in real life?
How I can apply restorative justice in my own life is just basically communicating with family and friends. If I have a conflict, be more open and sharing my own emotions, and just be honest and make sure that both sides of the conflict are addressed in the situation, so nothing is left behind, and just be more open and be honest.
For application can lie in the junior pen pal program, where it can be us teens getting together and writing to the offenders or writing to the victims and kind of using that as encouragement to give them a Bible verse or two, tell them that we're praying for them, and kind of give them a little bit of Jesus, and help them understand that there is hope and that God does have a future for them and a path for them that the offenders may have fallen away from, or the victims may want to stray away from, but that these programs here and the application process can really help those in need strengthen their relationship with Christ.
I have several older brothers and younger brothers, and a lot of times, we like to horse around and stuff, but we kind of avoid this sometimes, getting kind of emotional with each other. But honestly, there are a lot of times where we really hurt, there have been times where we've really hurt one another. Sometimes we've worked it out, and then other times, kind of let things be. But in those times, nothing ever healed, and anytime we avoid that, we've never really grown together as siblings and as people, individuals. On a smaller scale, restorative justice, we address the problem, we encounter each other, we include, anybody or anything that was involved. We, try to make amends, go back to, our everyday life, and just try to grow together again.
And focus on specific, maybe quick wins or easy things that we can all agree on, and try and break it down so we can do win after win or opportunity after opportunity, rather than trying to deal with the issue all at once. So it makes it much easier when you're doing it from an objective standpoint and with somebody to help really guide the process rather than trying to do it on your own one-on-one. So it really helps out, and we use it on a regular basis. We could do it even more, and it works out even better when you have some people that are involved from a faith base to, even though God may not be brought out on the outside of it, bring it out, but you know that underlying that you're always keeping God and your faith involved as well.
That about sums it up for our discussion for today. Thank you everyone for participating and being here, and thank you for your time.